Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 1994 Saturn SW1. Up front is a 1.9 liter inline 4, and down below is a 5-speed manual transmission. Now, I am super excited to be driving this SW1 for two reasons. First of all, it's a manual wagon. Anytime someone says, hey, I have a manual wagon, would you like to review? Yes! Yes! But the second reason is the fact that this is an early Saturn. This is kind of Saturn's heyday, in my opinion. It's a very, very well-kept example, and I'm excited to share it with you here today. But if you'd like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And if you'd like to see all my videos weeks or sometimes months in advance, you can head on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month. But let's get back to that 1.9 liter inline 4 under the hood. Well, that is the only engine available in this era of Saturn. However, you could get it in two separate flavors. But it's a single cam making 85 horsepower, something of the sort. It's not fast, it's not quick, it's not even brisk. The owner said merging into traffic is, quote, scary. And I believe her. It's not great. It's not quick. The dual cam is certainly the engine that you want, and so if you're looking for one of these, I'd highly recommend seeking one out. But this one was so clean and such a good deal that the owner Bree couldn't resist bringing this cherry little wagon home. Now, like I said, paired to it is a 5-speed manual transmission. Shifter feels great. It's a very importy throw, meaning good. American shifters, I don't care what you say, were not good in the 90s. F-body Camaros, super stiff. The clutches were heavy. They didn't really know how to have that satisfying click into gear. Well, GM was able to figure it out here for Saturn, and it's very, very nice. Last but not least about the drivetrain, of course, the Saturn SW1 is front-wheel drive. How does it feel to drive the SW1? It's nice. This particular one is a well-kept example, so the suspension is behaving, the AC is working, visibility is good. It's a simple little car. Again, with that single cam, you are going to be aching for more power. But besides that, it's actually a joyous little drive. If you need a little around-town grocery getter, this is fantastic for that. Just don't expect to, go on the highway all that much, and if you do, just expect for a not-so-great time. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 4 gauges. Off to the left is the speedometer, in the center is the fuel and coolant temperature, and off to the right is the tachometer. I do get some warning lights down below, as well as our gauge dimmer switch and rear defrost, and on the steering wheel, we have the SIR, as well as the horn buttons, and cruise control. Very, very nice for that. Off to the left, we do have a climate control vent. We have our manual mirror up top, because this does not have a passenger side mirror. Now, SWs did get a passenger side mirror. However, the SLs weren't all equipped with passenger side mirrors, so that is actually a delete from a SL, fun fact. But coming back to the driver's side door, we have the latch to get in and out, power locks, and no crank for the windows because we actually have buttons in the center. Moving into the center, we have our climate control vent, we have our Saturn radio and auto reversing cassette tape, as well as our bass and treble adjustment. Very, very cool there. We have our climate controls. As I mentioned, AC is blowing nice and cold here today, which is my saving grace. Thank you, Bree, for that. We have our cigarette lighter and ashtray. Shifter in the center. The shifter is very economy, very basic. It looks like it was molded out of Play-Doh, which is pretty par for the course for vehicles like this. But then we have our power window switches. So down below, we get power windows. Very, very nice to see, not only here in the Saturn, but for the 1994 year. Not all cars came with power windows. This SW1 did. We have our parking brake, and then we have our center console that actually has a little offshoot cup holder. So we will do a big friggin' bottle test, and unfortunately it fails, but very cool that it has a cup holder at all. But that cup holder is attached to the center armrest, which is nice and comfy, and then the seats. The seats are comfortable as well. They are cloth. They are very well kept, and GM was very good at making seats in this era, and that trickled all the way even down to Saturn. They did not leave you out in the rain here today. They actually brought you in and gave you a towel. Cozy up in these seats. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. All right, getting in the back of the SW1. I really feel like I'm in the 90s because these kids have been circling my car. That little go-kart he's on keeps breaking down, the chain keeps coming off, and the wheel came off at one point when I was filming a different Saturn. None of them have even looked at a screen the entire time. I feel back in the 90s. That is so nice to see. Anyway, let's talk SW1, because that's why you clicked on the video, not to hear me rant about kids. Backseat's fine. This does feel a little bit more comfortable than the SL of the same era, so you do get a little bit more knee room, which is nice. You get a ashtray down there, of course. The same material carries on back here. Power windows, very nice to see that. Obviously, the car is off. But overall, it's a nice place to be, nice enough place to be. It's as nice as it needed to be, I guess is the right way to put it. I'm comfortable enough. I have enough space, but it's not superfluous. I'm not swimming back here. I'm not mixing it up with a Chrysler 300. No. I understand that I'm in an economy car. I fit 5'11", not a small guy. I've jammed myself back here okay enough, so I think you will be able to too. The car is off and it is warming up. I feel like a child left at a grocery store, so I'm going to pop into the back, take a look at the trunk and cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, around the back of the SW1. Pop it like that, pull it up, and there is the rear cargo space of the wagon. Absolutely lovely. Tons and tons of space back here. Really, GM and Saturn was very, very good at maximizing their space when it came to the wagons. Even the L series that came after the S series in the early 2000s had fantastic rear space in their wagons. So huge, huge, huge win there. I've also reviewed a postal version of these. So in some rural areas of the United States, they did use these as postal vehicles, and that's pretty obvious here. One cool and interesting thing is that you can actually open up this panel and then swivel out your rear wiper fluid. You actually fill it through here. That's the reservoir. Swivel that back in and put the panel back on. Very, very cool. Nice little hidden feature there. Overall, nothing really too crazy to note back here, but plenty of space, and I'm very happy about it. I believe the go-kart kids are coming back, so I'm gonna close this up now. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I do like how angular these earlier SW wagons were. I think that they're fun. I think they are sort of that late 80s, early 90s sort of retro futurism kind of look, where they are a little bit more rounded off than 80s cars, but definitely still pretty angular. I like the black bumper. I like the wheels. It's all very period correct. You know, I feel like a soccer mom in 1995 taking her kids out to the field, things like that. So I like it. It's a joyous little automobile. But with all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving this SW1? It's lovely. It's been a lovely experience. I enjoy this car. I like rowing through my own gears. I like driving Saturns. This, again, is a very well-kept example. I'm not experiencing rattles, beeps, squeaks, or any headaches. And I'm able to give you guys, the viewers, a solid look as to what these cars were like when they rolled off the assembly line in '94 from good old Spring Hill, Tennessee. So I've enjoyed that. But there's been a question that's been nagging at me, gnawing at me. And that question is, simply put, why? Not why did this car exist, not why did GM build this car, but why here in 2026 did I drive 3.5 hours into bum nowhere, Indiana to drive a bunch of Saturns? And why especially did 100 other people drive into bum nowhere, Indiana to see and park amongst a bunch of other Saturns? Are these the fastest cars ever built? No. Are they super rare? No. They're very affordable, but they weren't very special in their time, and I would argue that nowadays they're not even that special at all. So what's the appeal? Why did so many people come from all different states to park next to each other? Well, I think there's a couple reasons. First of all, these are obtainable. If you want to get into the Saturn hobby, all you need is about $2,000, which might seem like a lot, but getting into a car for $2,000 ain't too shabby. That's not bad at all. So it's affordable for what it is. But I think the bigger aspect is that the owners of Saturns have now become custodians of the Saturn brand. Now that Saturn no longer exists, there's no archive keeper, there's no local Saturn shop, there's no Saturn dealers, there's no Saturn memorabilia being made. If it weren't for owners like Bree and Anthony, these cars would cease to be talked about or cease to exist. And so I think that's a big drawing point. If you want a car that you can dive right into their history, Saturn offers that for you, and they were made for such a short amount of time, 1990 to 2009. I mean, all things considered, a 20-year run is not that vast. It feels more familial. It feels closer together, like siblings spread over a decade, rather than you might have a cousin who's 10, another cousin who's 45. There's no connection there. I think because they're accessible, they're a little bit unloved. It's a lot like rescuing a cat. The same kind of people who rescue animals are also into Saturns. People who care, people who notice the unnoticed, people who want to uptake a caretaker position. These cars are labors of love. It's sometimes hard to find parts. It's not easy to find them in good condition, and it's only going to get harder. It is only going to be an uphill battle from here on out. But there are people that are willing to take that charge. There are people that are willing to bear that torch. And that's why the Saturn community is so vibrant. And I think it's also because these cars are honest and just. You go to a Corvette car show and everyone's trying to one-up each other. Say, oh, mine's a 1 of 6, mine's a 1 of 5. Mine has this option and that option, so it's actually a 1 of 1. You don't get that with Saturn people. You don't get that at Saturn meets. Everyone understands that their car is worth less than $4,000. That's kind of the joy of it. No one takes it too seriously. No one lives and dies by the Saturn badge. They're honest and upfront. They're simple and affordable. They're accessible and friendly. And that's how I feel driving this SW1. The Saturn community, as of now, is vibrant and thriving. And it just makes you want to become a part of it. And hallelujah! It ain't too expensive to do. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Bree for letting me borrow her SW1 for today's video. Bree has been absolutely awesome. I've known her for years and years and years at this point. She's always lovely, as well as Anthony. I'm very glad that both of them made the trip up here to Indiana from Ohio to share their Saturns with me. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.